Hello, welcome to Chaos and Coffee. My name is Justin Brown, and it's chaos as usual. So get your coffee, Today on our panel, we have Darth Tux, Vertex Draco, and a new panel member. I can't remember the code name we're supposed to use.
Cheryl's fine.
Cheryl. Cool. And then later on in a little bit, my friend's walking his dog, but Chris Rauchi might drop in. So we'll see how that works. So what's going on in the world today? UFOs haven't showed up yet, unfortunately.
Well, the biggest news, of course, I guess, is the government shutdown.
Yeah, what do we do during a government shutdown?
Are they actually doing that then? No, because I heard of it, but I don't know.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. It just basically means that a large portion of our government is not funded at the moment, so it cannot function. So
this happens quite a bit.
Things like our military aren't getting paid. Other large parts of government aren't getting paid, like border security, that kind of thing.
What reason do they even do this? Why are they doing it? What do they want to accomplish?
Well, the current crisis was started because our illustrious president decided to defund several government programs, such as our DACA program, which is currently protecting a bunch of people who are technically illegal here, right? However, most of them have been here for a decade or more, right? And most of these people were born here. And then
not born here, brought here very early. Like I think they were brought here very early, not quite born here. If you're born here, you're good. If you're born here, it's like you're safe, like home plate, But if you're brought here at a young age, and they have been here for decades, he's right.
Yeah. So now these parts of our government aren't being funded. So somebody has to step up and say, well, here's a budget for these departments. And typically that they would just get together and they would hash out an agreement between them. What makes this one different is after the president sabotaged all of this, 2 proposals was brought to him. Now, he went on national TV, and this was televised for everyone to see, and he told Congress, I will sign whatever deal you bring in front of me. I don't care. If I don't like the deal, I'll do it anyway. Don't worry about it. I'll take the heat, quote unquote. When they brought a deal before him, he said, no, this isn't any good because I want $20 billion for a border wall that Mexico was supposed to pay for. They said, well, no, that's not a part of the deal because that's not even a thing. What we need to focus on is getting these programs funded so the government can continue to function. So they went back and did a bipartisan deal and brought it to the president, who said, no, that's not good enough. Try again. They went, got a list of demands, and one of them was he requested $20 billion for his border wall. Another deal gave him his border wall and everything he said he wanted, and then he said, well, that's not good enough either. Do something else. Now I'm going to fly to Mar-a-Lago. So the government shutdown represents a failure from the great deal maker and negotiator to even make a deal or negotiate with the government that he's supposed to be leading. He was more concerned about attending a multi-million-dollar gala being thrown to praise and adore him than he was actually making a deal to keep this government running and doing his job as a leader. Now, of course, I find it funny that because the government is shut down, there's no money to fuel the jet, so Air Force One could not be used to fly his fat, sorry ass to Mar-a-Lago. So he's pissed off and upset now that he got to miss his grand gala. And that's pretty much where we stand.
It sounds like the government's just kind of throwing a paddy and they've not got their own way, so, they're like, well, we're just going to shut down.
Well, no. The problem is that the president refuses to fund parts of the government, and when the rest of the government bends over backwards to give him everything that he says he wanted, then he changes what he wants and refuses to. He's putting a roadblock at the executive office for any kind of deal or compromise or negotiation. And without the White House on board with something, without the executive branch, it'll never get done.
I think it's important to note that both the Congress and the Senate are Republican, and the president is Republican, right? Like, and I mean in majority. Certainly, there's Democrats that are in Congress, and there's Democrats that are in the Senate, but they're in minority. They're in no way responsible for this holdup, like for the shutdown. Again, shutdowns are fairly, at this point, sadly to say, routine. During the Obama administration, we had various shutdowns, usually once or twice a year.
Those shutdowns were caused over protest over Obamacare, or
exactly
the Affordable Care Act.
Rand Paul, or wait, who's it? Paul Ryan, the Speaker of the House, very predominant Republican, said the issue that the way he perceives the issue is that the Republicans for at least 2 Obama terms, so 8 years, were a bit of an obstructionist party, meaning that they shut down the government, or they were in opposition to new spending. They wanted to cut spending, et cetera, et cetera. So the irony, I guess, the silver lining that you can take out of this comedically is now that they have power of the Congress and they have power of the Senate, and and the president's Republican, they should be able to pass a budget deal with a phone call, you know? Instead, legislature drafted by his own party is being turned down by the president. Almost like he doesn't understand the consequences. Yeah, like his plane.
I think it's very obvious what's going on here.
Oh, it's blatant. It's blatantly happening. I don't think the president is aware of the consequences of what his actions are. You know, like I really honestly think
he doesn't care. He's just doing what his masters are ordering him to do.
Gosh, and at that point, I'd even argue that there aren't really even. See, I wish there was the type of thing where it was like Reagan with puppet masters. You know what I'm saying? Or it was like Bush. His dad's thing.
It's Vladimir Putin handing down his orders.
Oh, yeah, that's rough.
Trump, the candidate that he helped get elected, and is laundering shit tons of money through Trump properties.
Yep, Deutsche Bank. Yeah, this is all coming out in the woodwork.
It's not just Deutsche Bank. It's Trump Tower. It's Trump Plaza. It's Trump Resorts. It's Trump's golf clubs. That's why Trump spends so much time at Mar-a-Lago. He's stuffing $3 million of taxpayer money in his pocket every day that he's there. And people argue with me about this all the time. And I'm like, look, do you honestly think that he is not charging for his own rooms, his own meals, his membership dues, his fees, everything of his expense personally is being charged to the American people? And not just his. And even if he did pay for that part of it out of his pocket, he charges the Secret Service. He charges his entourage. He charges White House and government staff. You're going to come here and stay for the weekend with the president because that's your job. Well, now you got to give us $200,000 a year plus $20,000 every time you show up here.
Yeah, it's a country club.
Because also, it's a country club.
News media too. They want to show up.
He's grafting so much money out of our coffers that he will bankrupt this country just supporting his lavish lifestyle.
There are a lot of expenses that America has, right? I would say that I agree with you that he is definitely one of the most spending presidents, and definitely has figured out how to use the American taxpayer to make himself even more wealthy. And again, he is leveraged with Russian oligarchs and financiers that have bailed him out after his various bankruptcies.
And let's not forget that he has kicked the press out of Mar-a-Lago. So it makes a perfect place where he can come and meet with his Russian masters and receive his orders in absolute secrecy, knowing that anybody that's there to overhear him has already been approved.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I would, again, I'm not going to dispute whether he's a Manchurian candidate for Russia. I think that, again, that's pretty evident at this point. I guess the recent big scandal is that he's cheating on his wife with one of his staff. Most likely Nikki Haley, the ambassador to the UN.
I don't care. I look at it this way. That is just a distraction. It's a distraction. Who gives a shit? JFK, one of the greatest presidents this country ever had, was screwing around on his wife with Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, that's something forgivable.
What if Trump screwed Stormy Daniels? What man in this country wouldn't?
I don't know. Good job, Stormy Daniels. You're currently number 2 at Pornhub. Yeah, I think the government is definitely ran in the way it's like the Batman thing, where Batman's like he's the hero Gotham deserves, right? Very much Donald Trump and his administration is what the American people deserve after complaining about Obama, right, for 8 years. The thing is,
sadly, yeah, that's true.
The thing about America's crushing debt, and no doubt America will definitely, the empire will implode under the debt, no doubt. But a lot of that debt is acquired from 2 wars that lasted longer than Vietnam, each one. So we had a Vietnam times 2. That's pretty much still ongoing as far as I'm concerned. We're still in Iraq and still in Afghanistan. And then also there's like trillions of dollars of student loan debt that many of us have defaulted on. We can't pay it, America's got some issues. Definitely some infrastructure problems. Culturally, there's a massive divide. But I would say that Trump is very much more a symptom of a much more expansive disease. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he is a boil or a pimple, in a world, or at least in America, that's kind of gone mad,
Yeah, and his screw the rest of the world, we can do all this ourselves thing is gonna
really
do more.
Ass. Yeah,
I tell people all the time, they're like, "Oh, look, Apple." Read an article the other day. Apple's going to spend billions, which actually really is just kind of a really tiny stipend of the money Apple has anyway. They're going to spend billions on infrastructure, and they're going to create plants here in the United States and start making their own shit for a change, and blah 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 blah. Bring jobs. Okay, that's fine. I'm all for American people going to work, but think of this: we're working really quickly toward a $15 minimum wage, right? Already in a lot of states, it's already 11. Walmart, quit trying to glorify your damn selves and that you increased your minimum wage to $11 an hour because you were forced to do it by California. Just saying. Now, I can pay an American worker $11 an hour to create a screen for my phone, or I can go to China, which is currently what we do, and I can pay somebody 2 cents an hour, 5 cents an hour. Okay, so that means, I'm buying this cell phone component, this screen, say for $5, right? It's what it costs me per unit to manufacture. Now, if I bring that to the United States, now I'm looking at spending over $1,000 for the same component just to have it manufactured. There's nothing else different about it other than what it costs me to manufacture it skyrockets. Now, economics, business 101. All cost overruns passed on to consumer. So you think $1,000 iPhone is too expensive? Wait till you're looking at a $500,000 iPhone.
Or as we like to call it, 1 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm short story, right? A couple years ago, You know, this is like 2008 or so, 2010, somewhere around there. I am reading a bit about super or hyperinflation, like what currently is happening in Venezuela, where their currency had a 440,000% loss. So like one day a can of tuna is one of their currency, right? A can of tuna equals 1, right? The next day the can of tuna is 440,000 of those things. So people are out in the streets burning the currency and killing cows with rocks in Venezuela, right? As we speak, I presume. So I was really worried about this happening in America, right? So I started looking into it, and the Chinese currency is like 15 cents. Like if we were to buy a renminbi, it's like 15 cents for one of theirs, right? So I went to LA, I went to the Chinese bank, and I tried to buy a bunch of renminbi. Like straight up. Like I went to the 15th floor of Citibank, and it has the Chinese floor. Then I walk in there, and they kind of politely told me that I was not a corporate entity, like I wasn't a company. I didn't have an LLC or anything, and I couldn't just put the money into their bank. LA was the corporate branch. I'd have to like wire money to New York to set up this account, and the inevitability that the Chinese took over the world as they are doing, and became an economic power, then the renminbi would have to go up. And politicians constantly on both sides bitch about the Chinese keeping their currency down, that it should go up, right? So I'm trying to buy these renminbi, and it was just, I was hitting hurdle after hurdle. And then one day I found Bitcoin. And it was like $2. This is Chaos and Coffee, brought to you by Justin Brown and the panel here. Remember, leave your comments in the external chat or the chat that you find on YouTube, or even leave me a comment on Facebook, and that'll drive the conversation.
And I guess number 2 in the news would be Trump still hasn't done a damn thing about Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico is still without power. Large parts of Puerto Rico are without power. They're going to be watching this later on, I guess.
Well, I have a few things to say about that, if I may.
Right on.
Well, being a half Puerto Rican, my birth father is Puerto Rican, I find it horrible and horrendous that Trump did nothing except for throw paper towels at my people. I mean, come on. What are they supposed to do? Sop up the water with it?
Yeah, that was really it was hard to watch him throw paper towels to people who had just experienced a flood, like they were t-shirts or something, you know?
Exactly. I find it, I can't even express how angry it made me feel. And granted, I've never been to Puerto Rico, but that doesn't matter. That's still my people. You know what I'm saying? If I could go help, if I financially could go help, I would. And I feel like our government, they are a part of this country, you know. Granted, they're just a territory, but that doesn't matter. You know, they are not their own country. They are supposed to be protected by the United States. And throwing paper towels at them is not protecting them.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. One of the other I'm going to call these photo opportunities. That's basically what they were, where he's throwing paper towels. Yeah. One of the other photo opportunities was a truck, and there was a driver in the truck, as you would expect. I guess like maybe a Puerto Rican government truck. And he's carrying these boxes over to the truck, and rather than put them in the truck bed, as I'm assuming anybody on the earth would, right? You know, that's where you put stuff. Cargo goes into the truck bed, right? He hands it to the driver, You know what I'm saying? And the guy's like getting a box from the president, so he doesn't want to make it awkward, so he just kind of puts it in the passenger seat. But then the president proceeds to hand these boxes to the driver of the truck. And, you know, like people didn't tell the president, no, put those boxes in the back of the truck, sir. Anyways, yeah, we're in a fun time with the president. Man, I really feel for the people of Puerto Rico as well. I don't have any Puerto Rican heritage, but
what really gets me, I mean, because this matter rightfully upset Cheryl so much, and her being my fiance, it upsets me as well. But what really sickens me about this whole thing and infuriates me is a recent announcement from the White House that Puerto Rico has $1.5 billion in their bank account, so they don't need U.S. aid and won't be receiving any. I don't give a fuck. The Puerto Rican people are supposed, that is our job and our responsibility. For all intents and purposes, they are American citizens. And to not step in and help them in their time of need, and to allow all those people in Hawaii to go over 30 minutes thinking that their lives were in danger while our president sat on his fat, worthless ass and did nothing is treasonous. And if I had my way about it, I don't give a shit. I'll broadcast this out there on the fucking internet. If I had my way about it, I'd raise up a group of people to march into the White House, drag his treasonous ass out, and hang him from the biggest tree I can find with a brand new fucking rope.
This is Chaos and Coffee, brought to you by no sponsors, thank God. I don't endorse that activity. However, I do empathize with what you're saying. That is definitely the sentiment of most people at this point. I'm waiting for Robert Mueller to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like there's this guy named Robert Mueller who worked for the FBI underneath the Bush administration.
That's going to take a little bit, unfortunately. I believe that Robert Mueller is a man of integrity, a man of honesty, and a man who will definitely get the job done, who cannot be bought.
Yeah, exactly.
He has proven that in his career.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, his problem is he has a huge fucking thing on his hands, because this isn't just Trump who's committing these treasonous acts, who are working for the Russians. It is the entire Republican National Convention. If they weren't personally involved, they knew it was going on and said nothing, which makes them just as guilty. So he has a lot of people to investigate, and he has a very long way to go.
Yeah, I agree that the Republican National Convention is definitely aware of the Russian collusion, and the only like real evidence that's like out in the public that I could point to is that the Republican platform changed its position on Ukraine pretty much as soon as Trump's team had any type of say in it. Like, so like when he was in like the top, or no, at the Republican National Convention. Yeah, at the Republican National Convention, when they displayed their platform or when they published their platform on a website or whatever, the subject of Ukraine had basically flip-flopped. You know, like in one instance, the Republican Party, you know, specifically McCain and others, were really about helping Ukraine maintain sovereignty. And then once Trump's team had the pen, right, to edit the platform, the Republican platform, it was very much a hands-off Ukraine. You know, let Ukraine, the Ukraine civil war settle itself.
It isn't the first lady Ukrainian?
I think Melania is. Yeah, let's look her up. You know, Melania actually has a lot of. She has a lot of. How do I put this? Let me try to rephrase this real quick. Let me look up Melania's nationality. Also, somebody's asking for the Hangout invite code.
Well, I just find it interesting that she speaks Russian. So when the president's standing up on the podium with her standing behind him saying, "Do you see any Russians here?" All I can think is, well, yeah, the one you're married to.
She's definitely from a satellite country. It's an Eastern European country. I'm gonna look that up real quick, and also I'm gonna send an invite. I'm gonna send an invite to somebody real quick. I'm gonna look it up. I promise to goodness. I'm not just forgetting. Also, Ellie, here is your link if you're watching. Okay. Melania has actually a higher approval rating than Trump. I read that the other day. Melania nationality. It's like Slovakian or something. That's my guess. Oh, there he is. Oh, Slovenian. That's how I'm supposed to pronounce that. She was born in Novo Mesto, Slovenia, and grew up in the lower Sava Valley. She's just a small town girl living in a lonely world. Caught the midnight train going anywhere. I guarantee you, dude, if you're raised in Eastern Europe and anybody, geez, a robot, overlord with a weight problem, you know what I'm saying? Like anything came your way that can get you out of Slovenia, you're getting out of Slovenia, bro. You know? Come to America, kill people with hammer. I'm like, I'm getting out of Slovenia. I'm going to America to kill people with hammers.
Well, hey man, one thing we do have to look forward to: the midterm elections. If Republicans lose control of either the House or Congress, then impeachment charges that are trying to be passed now will get passed and we'll be done with Trump. But then that means we're stuck with Pence.
Yeah, it's again. I'm gonna not give the guy a pass, right? I mean, but I'm going to say that the dude, the individual, Lord Dampnuts, right, is definitely the type of cat who is a symptom of the larger problem. Like, I'm not blaming that cat for the woes. And also, I'm not going to give him praise for the policies that were enacted during the last president. I mean, like, oh, goodness. There's a big part of the country that praises the heck out of him for making jobs. He makes the jobs happen, you know?
Well,
so
you got to look who these people are. I've had several of them tell me online. I'm serious about this.
And you're surrounded by it right now.
That all professors and artists and musicians and scientists are all a bunch of evil liberals, blah, 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 blah. Which tells me then, okay, so the conservatives are the uneducated and the poor and the untalented. Wouldn't you think then that, you know, you might want to listen to the intelligent people of the world, the smart people, the Einsteins, the Carl Sagans? He might be a bad example.
I wouldn't.
But
Carl Sagan was definitely a liberal. And I guess Einstein did have like quite a liberal lifestyle.
Well, they were humanitarians. They cared about people. And that's one of the things that these people on the far right try to use to, oh, you know, you liberals just want to care for everybody, and we just want to shut everybody out. If you're not American, if you weren't born here, if you're not white, we want you gone.
That's one side of the
right. Anybody who doesn't see that in their minds is a liberal.
Yeah.
And all liberals are you artsy types, and, you know, the actors and the painters and the artists and musicians and college professors and scientists, you know, and people who actually get out there and try to tell you the truth. Because everybody knows in their minds that the earth is flat.
It's a divided
and we're all being lied to by NASA.
Right. Yeah, those guys are out there, the flat earthers. I do not endorse flat earth. I consider myself a moderate conservative. They're not all conservatives. Those guys are, oh man, I wouldn't even call them conservatives, dude. Like, I would call, I don't know. There's conservatives and then there's the flat earthers, which are basically like a fringe group. I would warn against falling into either extremes. Okay, there are definitely people out there who believe in a flat earth who are conservative. I would say there's probably maybe liberals who believe in a flat earth. I don't know. Most liberals tend to be pretty well educated in America. There are well educated conservatives, and again, there's moderate people that are very underrepresented because of the way in which the echo chamber works. You know,
I mean, I get it. I get it. A lot of these people have been raised with a false belief that our founding fathers built this country on this Christian ideas and values exclusively. And no other religions were even thought about or considered. So now they feel like, oh, well, that has been taken away from them, and America has been diminished because we are no longer a Christian country. We never were a Christian country. So we have freedom of religion. You can worship whatever God you want to. But the Christian religion in its very beginning was taken over by the state and said, okay, we're going to use this for state purposes. So they feel that they have a right, that things should be exactly the way they think it was, because according to them, well, that's what this country was founded on. That's what their religion was founded on. Power to the state. So they feel like now there's been this war on Christianity, and there's been no war on Christianity. Society has moved forward. Mankind knowledge has moved forward. We have developed sciences and arts and critical thinking and have explored more and have learned about this reality and this existence. And they want to hold us back because they feel this is the way things have always been and this is the way things always will be. And they're totally wrong. You have to adapt. You have to change. And if that means that your religious beliefs fall out of favor and we adopt something else that more closely fits our existence, then you got to put that shit aside, man. Or else we're not going to move forward. We're going to stagnate in this, and then everything's going to collapse and burn around us. We're going to be standing there going, "Why, God, why?"
The way I look at religions, I agree with what you're saying. First off, let me say that, okay? In large part. The thing that really, I don't know, the perspective I take is that religions, you ever see those martial arts videos on YouTube? Sorry, this is an analogy, if you will. And you watch these martial art videos on YouTube, and some of these guys are legit, and some are, they're like martial art hoax. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So they exist.
Yeah. Well,
I feel the same way about religion.
Go ahead.
I feel the same way about religion. It's like my analogy is that most organized religions. Most, not all, but most organized religions, and I'm talking about from the community pastor to the Pope, right? Okay, are basically fake martial arts, right? They're like, this teacher has this awesome power, and you can learn it for $9.99, right? They never tell you like, hey man, it's all within you. You're part of the universe. Well, Carl Sagan did, and scientists do tell you you're made of star stuff. We're all made of atoms and energy. Like you can't get more celestial than you are now. You're in space.
Well, even a lot of religions teach that you are from this earth, but you're not of it.
See, I'm not. We're of the universe, dude. We're of this earth. Everything that is of the same stuff, right? Like, I mean, we know this now. We are a particular arrangement of those items, the result of thousands and thousands of years of selective evolution. I like to take a very moderate humanist, rationalist approach to my worldview. But I do think that the universe has, if not a meaning, like a purpose. Anyways, we're drifting off into the philosophical here.
Yeah, well, we have a tendency to do that on occasion.
Yeah, welcome to Chaos and Coffee. My name is Justin Brown. If you have any comments, or if Cheryl wants to chime in about anything, we're here. Or Draco's been quiet. Sorry, dude, American politics, bro. We're at the end of it, though. Trust me.
American politics has got to be the worst. Although I Canada's politics was a bit weird to me because they've got like 50 different political parties.
I watch politics like people do sports, right? So in America, it gets kind of boring. I have two teams, right? And I'm not particularly for either of them. I've been investigating some of the minor teams, the minor leagues in American politics. In like Britain or Canada, where they have like multiple parties. Also, like if you are ever in need of a good laugh, I mean a good laugh, on a Monty Python level, watch about an hour of British Parliament.
What's so entertaining about British Parliament?
Dude, they're hilarious. Like the way they talk to each other, it's like they can't display pictures in Parliament. Like in Congress, we can, or in the Senate, we can like do a whole big chart behind us, and like PowerPoint, or like show the arrows going up and down and like display imagery. In British Parliament, you can't display imagery. It's like you're not allowed, So everybody has to describe things, and they're classy. Like they're not classier. It's classier, but they're funnier. Like they're wittier. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I would imagine they're a lot more polite.
They're polite, but they could do like little they because of the rules of order there, they have to like address each other in certain ways that are just funny, right? Like they can't say each other's names, but they can say like the place they're from, right? So like if I was talking to you, I'd have to say like, I agree with the gentleman from Oklahoma. Bike trails are good. I personally won't be using one. And like they all laugh because I'm robust. You know what I'm saying? I'm like a girthy fella, right? And they're like roasting themselves and roasting each other. There's this like judge dude with a gavel and a wig on. It's fucking awesome. Any people out there who like to dabble in the psychedelics or anything else that might make you get caught in a time loop or anything weird, Google or YouTube British Parliament, and that'll pull you right out of that.
Well, I've just got a quick question for Drago.
Okay.
What exactly is the function of the Queen if you have Parliament?
To be honest, it's mostly symbolic at this point. Not all of her power has been taken away, but most people's general idea is that what we have at the moment works, so there's no real reason in changing it, and it's a source of income in one sense because it brings tourism over, and they have, I don't know, fancy rituals and gods and stuff. So I don't know. I don't know the exact numbers on how much taxpayers' money goes towards the Queen and how much money brings in. But I kind of like it the way it is, to be honest. I wouldn't really change it. If I was to create a new system, I wouldn't pick a. I think technically we have like a constitutional monarchy. I wouldn't choose that to create a new society, but I wouldn't change it as it is at the moment because it could just go completely wrong.
So is the Queen kind of like the president, or is that the prime minister?
That's the prime minister, essentially. It is pretty much symbolic. Like technically, the Queen still has a lot of land, and what she says has some sort of influence. But most of her power has been taken away. Like a long time ago, we had the Magna Carta, which is where the people essentially dragged the king out and forced him to sign a piece of paper that relinquished all of his power because I think he got a little bit crazy. So, yeah.
Well, the royals are still a very powerful family, though, nonetheless, though, right? And that they're incredibly wealthy in their own rights.
Yeah, they're very wealthy. They have a decent amount of power, but just not they don't run the country. They don't really make decisions or anything. So, to be honest, I'm not really an expert on what the royals actually do. I don't pay much attention to politics anymore. So, I don't know.
Well, I just wanted to ask because, I mean, you're English, so I figured, you know, you'd know better than us Americans.
I guess. But I don't know. Most English people just don't even care at this point. So I used to pay more attention to American politics than I did English politics. But now I just don't pay attention to any politics because I got so tired of it. It's become such a divisive topic that I'm not even willing to delve into it anymore because it's become really toxic. So I just don't care about it.
Yeah, we kind of have the same thing here with American politics. To even discuss it, it can degrade into a very toxic discussion really quickly.
Okay, yeah, that's true. On that note, we can put the Queen, to answer the question for everybody out there, the Queen has mostly ceremonial duties. Welcoming Chris, but he's on Kenny's account, Kenny the Bull.
I am.
And Ellie Sparkles, a local, or I'd say Fresno promoter and comedian.
What's up? What up?
Welcome to Chaos and Coffee. The conversation has just been about everything, you know, religion, politics, the universe.
Cool. Well, I wanted to throw in this one little thing I've been doing. You guys have been doing, heard of Sweatcoin, right? Not yet.
No, I haven't heard of. Okay, I've experienced some of the promotional stuff for Sweatcoin. I have not participated in Sweatcoin. Tell us about it.
Sweatcoin, it's I mean, from what I've done so far, it's just I have about 30 coins, and for every about 1,000 steps that you walk, that this program logs, and you get about 1.7 Sweatcoin. And that, I mean, it's not public, it's not traded yet. It's not on any kind of like an index or a market. So what we're looking at is like they have an exchange market, and you can also send it between you and your friends, or whoever you want. But I mean, the possibility looks pretty amazing. I mean, if you're able to like somehow generate enough, I mean, there's a prize on there. In Sweatcoin equals $1,000, or like $1,000 gift card. I'm just kind of not sure if it has a future. I mean, if it looks like it does. The algorithm that seems to be, regulating everything in terms of steps and how it's converted seems pretty solid right now. I don't think cheating is a big thing as of right now. You have to cover a certain like distance. You can't just I walk around in my CVS store all day. After a while, after about 500 steps, it stops logging it if you're in a really confined space. So if you're outside walking or doing a distance probably over a couple hundred yards, then it will log all your steps, and you just kind of gain into it. So it's relatively new for me. I'm just but that's my take on it so far.
It sounds like a good idea, but I think the name kind of sucks, if I'm honest. Like Sweatcoin, yeah, I don't know. I don't feel particularly comfortable about, like, if I was to buy something or if I was talking about it, I've got Sweatcoin or something. And there's the spoofer issue as well. That maybe they could essentially just simulate walking when they're not actually walking. But the concept itself of getting people to actually get off their asses and do something is a good idea, I think. So anything to get people out of the room and into the real world again is a good thing as far as I'm concerned.
Well, it's also because it really does. It's like there's a lot of potential in it if you're willing to walk the distances, if you're willing to actually like put the time in. I think you could actually gain you could really make an impact in that.
So just so we're all clear, you're given cryptocurrency based on your activity, based on your walking or jogging, running, bicycling.
Yes.
You couldn't
Right
be
now,
driving.
What?
You couldn't drive.
You can drive if you move your phone. I mean, you got to hit all the axes. As far as the way I'm seeing it, you have to hit all of the different, like,
Up,
the
down,
accelerometer
left,
axes.
Yeah.
Or else it's not gonna register. The phone itself's got to be like, kind of like shaking a little bit. But you have to be moving forward or moving in a direction.
You could put a little backpack, right, on your dog, and play with frisbee or play in the park, and you could be throwing the frisbee or throwing the stick and have the dog going. You know what I'm saying? Is doing different angles, like starburst pattern, or what I call the Walmart symbol.
And the dogs, they jostle the phone more than you do when you walk. So it's like every time they step forward, it's another thing. So if I put like the phone on his stomach or like right near one of his legs, it's gonna get that little bounce every time. And I think that's how to maximize. Because right now my phone is stationary, but I'm not gaining anything because it's not really moving.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, as you shouldn't. Forward. Yeah, you're not breaking a sweat driving. Let's not try to shoot the system.
I would just strap it to a drone and go to the park and fly the damn thing around, man.
Or just jog with it. Let's he said a drone. Let's encourage people to just use it in the right way. Like,
yeah.
Okay, Ellie, how are you doing?
I'm down for that.
I'm doing well.
Can you speak directly into the? Okay, right on.
I came in between the Trump stuff and the Bitcoin stuff, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, we were talking about Trump, and now we're talking about Sweatcoin, a new cryptocurrency based off a phone app where you sweat or jog.
You know what's really weird? Like they have these. I see them spam all the time in groups. It's that it's like an app where you make money by shopping online, and people claim to be making a lot of money, but you're also sometimes spending a lot of money. So it's kind of a switch app.
They give you back a small portion of what you spend. You're not really making money. It costs you money. You're just saving a little is all.
Oh, okay.
Like all things, it takes money to make money. We know this shit.
Yeah, but it's not the kind of thing that you can use as your job.
No, it's a rebate system.
Here's the point. I mean, yeah. They give it all back to you at one time in one big rebate. So, I got this $1,500 check, but I had to spend $20,000 to get it.
I like those stories.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, it's kind of like the Costco membership then. Like, if you get the executive, I know, like, yearly, they give you back, like, 1% of your what you spent there.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing. They're just selling it to you as a money-making thing. Oh, look at all the money you can make. Yeah. You have to pay attention to words, especially in advertising and crap, what they say and how they say it. Because 99.9% of all of it is bullshit. It's just being presented to you in a misleading fashion.
It's very true. Like I agree with you. Like especially on the radio, if you hear an ad like for something for $9.99, then at the very end you heard that's only $9.99 if you spend $1,000 or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Which kind of irritates me. Like I think that you shouldn't have that. Like I think that's like false advertising. If you're gonna say something's $9.99, have it be $9.99. Don't have it be $9.99 after you spend this much, or if you buy this and this.
It is false advertising. It's just like putting a trademark on the term all natural. So you can then put that on your eggs or whatever that you sell that's not all natural. And then when people call you out on it and going, oh, we bought this thinking that there wasn't a bunch of toxic shit in it and find out that there is. You're saying it's all natural. Then they can say, oh, well, that's a trademarked brand.
Very
totally
true.
Organic. That's a trademarked brand.
That's totally true. That's fucking true. That's true. Yep. Oh, that's just our statement or something like that, man. That's how we present ourselves. I mean, but doesn't that most of that organic stuff's got to be
that happens
verified?
everywhere in the business world. Everywhere in the business world. Apple makes a phone with a screwed up camera in it. Instead of taking responsibility and saying, oh, we fucked up, we'll fix your phone for free, they go, oh no, you're not holding it right. You don't know how to hold a phone properly.
No, that's true with Apple too, because they said years ago, oh, we're not slowing down your phone. We're not slowing down your phone. After your phone comes out, it just came out. They're slowing down the people's phones.
Yeah, and now they're saying, oh, well, here, we'll give you control over the application that we were using to slow down your phone. I call bullshit. It's going to be like Windows 10. Oh, I turned Cortana off to find out Cortana is not off.
It's always on.
And it wasn't just Cortana, it was that stupid ass Xbox app. What the hell is that asinine thing supposed to do for me when I boycott Xbox? I don't want the damn thing sending information that's encrypted, mind you, across my network back to Microsoft. An application I don't want and I don't need, I can't remove, and I can't switch off. Microsoft, if you're listening, you want my business, and you want me to bring in my friends and family and shit and start praising you and start using Windows 10 and get some adoption, then stop treating us like we're a bunch of products. Give us the ability to remove Cortana. Give us the ability to remove the rest of your spyware and key logging and quote-unquote telemetry bullshit. And be honest with us and deal honest with us. Otherwise, I'm going to continue my Microsoft boycott, and I will not use a damn thing Microsoft ever again, like I haven't for the past 10 years because of your abusive, nasty, disgusting ass policies toward the users of your products.
Preach it. Preach it.
I like to say this thing now like Rigo. Say it again, louder, for the people in the back to hear.
Preach. I mean, doesn't dishonesty and business go together in the same sandwich?
People are like, oh, well, I'll go over to Apple. Yeah, well, Apple needed an operating system. And Steve Jobs, in his infinite wisdom, the scumbag he was, goes, oh, look, there's this operating system called Unix. And there's another version called Linux. It's absolutely free. Well, we'll just take that and we'll modify it a bit and not share our changes with the community and create our own operating system. Oh, now we can't charge for that operating system. Well, that's just fine because we have no interest in sharing anything we create with anyone ever. So what we'll do is we'll quote unquote lock this down by only making it work on our hardware. And then we'll jack up the price on everything to make up for, you know, what we quote unquote develop here. 90% of that shit they did not develop, they stole. And refused to give back to the community that they stole it from. And they continue to do this to this day. Apple doesn't make any money off of their operating systems on their phones or computers. Yes, they do, because they charge you out the ass for it. They tack it on to the bottom line of the cost of manufacture. I find it telling that the first thing Steve Jobs did when he came back to Apple was tell them that they were not to give to charities anymore.
Wow.
Yes, he did.
Really?
Really. Steve Jobs never gave a dime to any charity ever in his life. He was another one of those, he was a Trump. He took credit for everybody else's work and sold it as if it was his own, and then refused to give credit or payment to those who actually did the work. He made himself incredibly wealthy off the hard work of other people.
Mostly Steve Wozniak.
Yes, mostly Wozniak. And it still dumbfounds me to this day that the Woz is such an amazingly awesome person that he's not upset about all the money that Steve stole from him and all the shit he did to screw him over their entire relationship.
I'm a firm believer that Steve Wozniak plays D&D.
If you're listening, man, you are one of my heroes, dude. You are one of the most awesome people that ever lived on the face of this earth, man. I love you, Steve.
Yeah, Steve Wozniak, man. Shout out to Steve Wozniak.
Yes, not Jobs. Jobs was a scumbag. Steve Wozniak is a shining example of what someone in his position should be.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great guy. He's fun. He gives.
Have you guys
He's
heard
not greedy. He doesn't hoard shit to himself. He
on a love path with Wozniak.
He's really without Steve Wozniak, we would not have the technological revolution and shit that we have today.
That's true.
Dang, I'm wondering if maybe I should be a little bit jealous.
Of Wozniak?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe at this point, yeah.
Sounds like he's giving him just a little bit too much love.
No, look the guy up. Look up Wozniak later.
Maybe it's only a bromance.
Yeah, Wozniak is the bearded wizard behind a lot of Apple's, at least early inventions. And Steve Jobs was the composer of a bunch of geniuses. You know, he put geniuses in different rooms and had them create products. I'm not going to hate on Steve Jobs, but
has anybody here read Ready Player One?
I'll be right back.
Not yet. I know there's a movie out.
There is a character in the book that is Steve Wozniak. I mean, just to the T. The way he's described and his attitudes and even who he was. You know, this man who helped create this technological revolution and didn't really get any of the credit for it. Right. But he was always cool with it. He was like, hey, man, I'm rich as shit. You know what the hell? You know what?
Yeah.
And But so when they announced that they were making the movie, I told Cheryl, I said, oh, man, I hope they go to Steve Wozniak to play that part. Because it was obviously written, for him.
Oh, here's something that might perk your interest, or something you can check out later. There's a documentary about the first Dune movie they tried to make. Now, not the David Lynch one with Sting. One before that with Salvador Dali.
Yeah.
Floyd.
Yeah. I seen that.
Okay, I have not seen that documentary yet. I'm gonna definitely check that out.
It is awesome, man. What he created was. Well, you know how big Star Wars was, and I'm talking not big as in popularity. I'm talking about the
groundbreaking,
large effects and the groundbreaking.
Yes.
You know, you look at it, and your first scene is this massive spaceship, right?
Yes. A big spaceship
times that scope of the whole universe of Star Wars, right? Times 1,000,000, and that's what he was intending for Dune.
Yeah, I saw some of the clips.
I mean, the script for this thing, dude, was like 2 million pages or so. I mean, this was a massive.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dang! I would love to see it.
Floyd, I was just like,
I would love to see it. Oh yeah. Toto did such a crappy job with it. Of course, the whole David Lynch Dune. It's in my collection. I watch it quite a bit. It's one of my favorite movies. But
it's not bad.
I have to say that the way the movie was made, its script, its cinematography, it's everything about it lacks.
The Sci-Fi Channel did a wonderful rendition of Dune. We're talking about Dune, the book series by Frank Herbert.
Children of Dune.
They did 3 or 4, something like that.
I'm waiting for them to do God Emperor, which was the next one in the story. But my favorite.
The major movie studios and their lack of content and their need to reboot and redo everything have recently signed a director and screenwriter to a new rendition of Dune. And they promised that it would indeed be an adult Star Wars. That was a direct quote from the director.
Yeah. I can't wait to see it. I really can't.
The writer is the same guy who did a few other renditions.
They asked who was the director, the producer, if he was going to go back to the. I don't even know how to pronounce the guy's name. The guy that did the first one we talked about earlier.
David
Zadowski or what?
The first one never got made. The first one, they had a $30 million budget from what I'm hearing, and they got $12 million in, and the production company was like, "No way, this is crazy." Yeah, because the script was the size of a human being.
Right. They asked him if he was going to go back on that guy's work because there was a lot of rumor that they were just going to take his material and just make that movie.
Well, they could do that. That's fine.
Which may be a great idea. I wouldn't have a problem with it whatsoever because the documentary makes it sound really amazing. I'm not going to.
All the concept art is by
spoil
H.R.
anything for you, but oh yeah.
Okay, folks.
Everything I've seen about it, I was like, yeah, I can see that as far as book description.
That's the life.